In comparison, based off what we saw from Rodgers last year, his age 41 season, compared to his last year with McCarthy, look, the average, he's getting the ball out of his hand quicker. I think you've seen that. Maybe the athleticism, not quite where it was in 2018. The yards per attempt went down in a big way last year with the Steelers from where it was their last year together in Green Bay. Rhett Lewis, Steve Mariucci back here with you on NFL Game Day Kickoff, trying to paint a picture of what this reunion will look like here. Mooch, it'll be a bunch of familiarity.
They look the same to me
guy,
right here. The Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, and the Green Bay.
A little bit more.
He had quite a career. 18 years over there in Green Bay. Was great with Mike McCarthy, won the Super Bowl, 2 MVPs, and of course Matt LaFleur too. But then he got hurt, right, with the Jets, and he had to recover from that Achilles, and ends up over here with the Steelers. This is back in the day.
Glory days. Here we go.
Yeah, glory days. But, you know, he's got time. He's comforting. He's got Devontae Adams down here with a stutter go right here and throw it up with the back shoulder throw. They just were in sync. They played together for a long time, Rhett, okay? But, you know, when you're Steelers, you're new. It's a new system. Arthur Smith is calling the plays. It's a lot different. He didn't have the time. That's why they had to throw the ball quickly. This is just 4 verticals. And you know what? He's going to get hit right here, and it's an interception. He threw the ball, you said it on the graphic, 27% of the time on my side of the line of scrimmage. That's a lot of these things. Get rid of the ball, protect the older guy with the Achilles. But you know what? Mike McCarthy, he thinks he's healthy right now, and he knows the system. They're going to get back to throwing the ball down the field, I'm telling you.
No, and it was kind of fun, even though we didn't see Rodgers in that preseason opener, but it was Rodgers and McCarthy for Pittsburgh taking on Green Bay. You know, the old stuff is new once again. Okay, let's talk a little bit here about the Steelers and their next matchup, as we're going to have it here for you, taking on the Jets at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Packers and Broncos will finish up the evening at 9 o'clock Eastern time. And for the Broncos, we get a chance to see Bo Nix coming off that ankle injury that took him out of the AFC Championship game as the Broncos were making that Super Bowl run. Take a look at the success that Nix has had over the course of his first 2 years in the league. 64 offensive touchdowns, third most right there for 2 career seasons in NFL history, just behind a Hall of Famer, Dan Marino, and a guy we're going to see tonight in Justin Herbert.
First of all, hold up, Red. That was pretty impressive. You ran
just a little
over here, and, you was reading and talking all at the same time. Very talented dude right here. Okay.
Well, hold judgment. Hold judgment for now. Let's talk about judgment here with this Bo Nix-led Denver Broncos offense and the expectations you have for a healthy Bo Nix going into year 3 now with Sean Payton.
Yeah, athletic Drew Brees. That's what I said about him when he was coming out of college, man. And Drew Brees was like, hold up, man, I'm athletic, but point I'm trying to make is I'm talking about Bo Nix. I want him to be more explosive in the passing game. Last year, his yards per attempt was around, 6.5 yards. The best teams in the National Football League, like New England and Seattle, they're up around 8 yards, almost 9 yards per attempt. If they can start to stretch the field like that, this offense will find a lot more space. The run game and J.K. Dobbins will start to find space. That is why you go out and you trade for a guy like Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle is fast. I think we all knew that.
We get that.
The dude can run, right? But when he runs and he clears space down the middle of the field, it opens up things for Cortland Sutton and Troy Franklin and all those guys on that offense. He already completes the ball at a high clip. You know what I mean? The dude knows where he's going with the football, and he's decisive. I like Bo Nix. He's one of the promising young quarterbacks in our league. I expect him to be more explosive this season.
And some rave reviews for his rookie running back, Jonah Coleman, joining a pretty talented group of runners there for Sean Payton in the backfield with Bo. Well, after a positive preseason opener for Raiders' #1 overall pick, Fernando Mendoza, he walks into NRG Stadium perhaps looking to push Kirk Cousins for QB1 as they get ready to take on the Texans. And how about the expectations sky high in H-Town? So much of it riding on that right arm of C.J. Stroud as the Texans trying to reclaim their perch atop the AFC South. And that quest, of course, aided by one of the most destructive defenses and dominant defenders in all of ball, Will Anderson, ready to wreak some havoc as we close in on this regular season. Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is NFL Game Day Kickoff from our NFL Network studios in Los Angeles. I love these nights. I love these environments because it is all about opportunities. Great to be back here with you, Rhett Lewis, alongside the Super Bowl champion, Michael Robinson, our head coach, Steve Mariucci.
Wow.
Guys, I love the opportunities that we're going to see from guys tonight that'll start over on ESPN at 8 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Fernando Mendoza, man. Yeah, get an opportunity to, run with the starters. We've seen him run with some starters at practice and things like that. He did a great job week 1. You know what I mean? He looked capable. He looked like he was in command. I don't know. I ain't saying before week 1 he's going to be the starter, right? I'm not saying that.
Well,
but I'm not saying that yet.
Well, I know somebody down in Houston that's going to help us paint the picture of what we should see tonight, and it's Laura Rutledge on the sidelines for ESPN tonight and with us here on Game Day Kickoff. Laura, what should we expect from Mendoza tonight?
All right, we're all excited to see him out there as well. And we'll see a lot of Fernando Mendoza, expected to play most of the first half and then potentially even after that. One thing to keep an eye on that Clint Kubiak mentioned to us is just the health of the O-line in front of him, right? They're not going to continue to throw the #1 overall draft pick out there if the O-line starts suffering injuries. So hopefully they'll stay healthy and Fernando can get a ton of reps. And I think another thing to pay attention to is how much time he spends under center. That's been a big emphasis with Kubiak's offense and not something that Mendoza did a ton of in college, right? The 10 snaps under center last week were the most he had ever done in his entire collegiate career. It's actually more than what he had ever done. So they're going to continue to rep that. Mendoza told us it's not rocket science. There's a lot of attention on that, but he was like, we're not trying to boil the ocean over here. Those are exact quotes, by the way. Mendoza, incredible to talk to. We're excited to interview him tonight as well. And another thing to keep an eye on is just the relationship between Mendoza and Kirk Cousins. He told us, Mendoza did, that Cousins has been a wonderful mentor for him, which is exactly what the Raiders wanted, right? They've had that chance to kind of learn and grow together. And Mendoza said he doesn't want to be annoying all the time to Cousins, but he has asked him a lot of questions. Another mentor they've been relying on is Tom Brady, of course, his affiliation with the Raiders. They actually, both quarterbacks, Cousins and Mendoza, FaceTimed Brady on Tuesday to talk through just some ideas and some things they wanted to discuss ahead of this preseason game against the Texans, some things, too, they were seeing in joint practice. So interesting to see how that relationship continues to develop. Mendoza saying that Mr. Brady, as he calls him, has been the quarterback that he idolized his entire life. So very surreal for him to experience it all.
Excellent primer for us, Laura. Sure do appreciate you giving us some insight of what we should expect from Fernando Mendoza. We'll talk to your counterpart, Lisa Salters, as we go forward over the course of this hour, as well as a trip inside the booth with Joe and Troy. But let's go back to that week 1 outing for Fernando Mendoza. What impressed you, Imran, from what we saw from the #1 overall pick?
Just his command of the offense. It wasn't any pre-snap penalties. It wasn't a delay of games or anything like that. He looked comfortable under center. It didn't look like the moment was too big for him. And more than anything, Mooch, he was decisive, right? You know, wherever he wanted to go with the football, he made a decision and made that decision. He looked like he went through his reads nicely. I liked what I saw. Now, I know it was only week 1, but I liked what I saw again. This type of play is not going to lose any football for you, and he's an athletic guy. And I got to think that in this Kubiak's offense that they're going to have some type of mobility from their quarterback.
Yes, and I really like what he did. And tonight he gets the start, which he didn't get a chance to do last time. And then hopefully he comes out for the 3rd quarter. You know, you sit down and then get cooled off and then come on back out. But this is the guy that he's competing with. Kirk Cousins has some familiarity with Clint Kubiak, right? Sure. 3 years in Minnesota where he had 105 passer rating, second best only to Aaron Rodgers. So he knows the system very well. There's Trey Tucker, their leading receiver last year. He dispersed the ball. He only had 1 drive. He missed his first throw, but he hit 5 in a row, all the way down for a touchdown. 10 plays, 68 yards, and a touchdown drive. They like that out of their starting quarterback. That's all he got. That's all he needed. And then let the young kid grow up. So this is going to be a lot of fun tonight, watching Fernando play some more through this preseason.
Yeah, look, it was a really efficient outing for both of these quarterbacks in that preseason week 1 matchup against Arizona. Obviously a bigger sample size. You see the 4 drives for Mendoza. And it was what Laura mentioned. He was proficient in all of the things that folks didn't see from him throughout his collegiate career, which speaks to, you know, his growth and his development and his commitment to be really good at that stuff. So, Mooch, let's talk about this part of it, right? Because the Raiders have committed to Kirk Cousins as QB1, at least as of right now. What can Fernando Mendoza do to go out and win that job?
I think it's inevitable, but it's a matter of a win. He's got to grow. He's got to play. He's got to go through the process. Football is a game of situations, isn't it? And one of the reasons, Rhett, that last game was so great for Fernando Mendoza, he played a lot. He got a lot of normal downs, first and second, where you can play action, do whatever you want, right? He got several third down situations, short, medium, and long. He got red zone situations. So as he goes through this preseason, he hopes to get a 2-minute drill, a 4-minute drill, all those other things that will add to his level of experience. It's all about his readiness. He's not ready to start yet. He hasn't practiced enough with this new system. Kirk Cousins knows the system very well and is very proficient at it. But this guy, at some point, he's the future, right? And they've had all kinds of head coaches over there. They've had no stability over there with the Raiders. That's what they're looking for with head coaches and quarterbacks to go into the future, but let the process work itself out.
The longer Fernando Mendoza sits on the bench, the worse it is for your future. And I think we all know that, right?
Get good at football by playing?
Playing football, right? And to me, I was at practice a couple of weeks ago, Mooch, and I got a chance to talk to players, got a chance to see him and Kirk Cousins throwing the football side by side. And look, I'm not saying Kirk Cousins is done or anything like that. Kirk Cousins can still play high-level football in the National Football League. But let's just be honest. Okay, the business of the NFL says if I play my young quarterback, I can start paying people around him so he can have a lot more help. Okay? And the longer he sits on the bench, the more he's not going to get the experiences, the more he's not going to see the defenses that he's going to eventually see. And we all know Kirk Cousins is not the future. And when I was there, I talked to some players, talked to Ashton Jeanty, talked to some players on that team, and everybody's like, man, we didn't know what Fernando was going to be like, but